Darth Maul has practically made an appearance in every Star Wars venue. In the animation series, in the movies, he is just one notch below C-3PO and R2-D2. We fell in love more with the character during Season 7 of The Clone Wars, the final season which showcased Maul in his entirety. The bad, the good, and the ugly. However, in the finale, him escaping from Ahsoka and Captain Rex gives us the perfect opportunity for Maul to make his return in the Bad Batch. Clone Force 99 is on the run from bounty hunter Fennec Shand. You see, somebody hired her in order to go after Omega. As a result, they head for the planet Ord Mantell to meet with a contact named Sid. This is at least what Echo tells them, a longtime informant of the Jedi. Now, in exchange for her services and information, both Sid and the gang agree to do a job. After the Bad Batch return successfully with Muchi, they get their information as well as a lot of credits. The implication being that Sid tells them they can come and work whenever they need credits moving forward, kind of working as mercenaries for her. This would provide them a means of survival in this new era of the Empire and now the fall of the Republic. What you might have missed, however, is that Ord Mantell is a world that is most notable for being the base of operations for the Black Sun crime organization. The Black Sun is also a part of Maul's Shadow Collective that he formed in the midst of the Clone Wars. Later, it would come to be known as the Crimson Dawn, which was heavily featured in Solo: A Star Wars Story and is definitely active during the same time as the Bad Batch during what we're seeing right now. Once Maul escaped Ahsoka Tano's custody in the finale of the Clone Wars, during that same time we see in one of the episodes Maul instructing the leaders of the Syndicate to go into hiding during the war's ending. Now that Sid has basically employed the Bad Batch as mercenaries, coming and going as they please, working for some credits in order to survive, it is very highly possible that they could soon find themselves going up against Maul's crime syndicate and Maul himself. The Bad Batch is the perfect opportunity for Darth Maul and the Crimson Dawn to get a bit more spotlight. In the Clone Wars finale, we did not get to see the full scope of Maul's crime syndicate. Similar to Solo: A Star Wars Story, we got just a glimpse of Maul's empire. Maul's crime empire was created during the Clone Wars, and it made a brief appearance in Solo: A Star Wars Story, but not much else is known about its true influence in the galaxy, now more so than ever during Imperial times. By the time Star Wars Rebels comes in, we know that Maul's power will eventually decline. In Star Wars Rebels, we see no indication that Maul is still the leader of a huge crime organization. He seems like an old hermit similar to Obi-Wan. All he wants is revenge. That's why he goes after Obi-Wan Kenobi on Tatooine, just to exact his revenge, nothing more. So by the very least, we know that during Star Wars Rebels timeline, Crimson Dawn is apparently no more, or perhaps they ousted Maul altogether. Now consider this, Maul absolutely hates Palpatine, especially now that he knows he has come into full fruition, full power. The Empire is his. Maul needs to be doubly careful now that Palpatine is controlling the galaxy together with his apprentice Darth Vader, just as Maul had predicted during the finale of the Clone Wars. What sets up Darth Maul even more for Bad Batch Season 2 are the comic series that are happening right now. In the Darth Vader comic series and even in the Hidden Empire series now that it just started, we just saw Palpatine talk about Darth Maul to Kira. We're seeing the consequences of Maul and what he left behind after his death. The Crimson Dawn, with Kira as their leader, are wreaking havoc to the Empire. Darth Vader is trying to get to all of them, but it's just like a virus that has spread underground. And I think these comic series and Palpatine talking directly about Maul as well is not just a coincidence. This is the perfect time to see what Darth Maul was up to immediately after Order 66, and what better way to see that than in the Bad Batch, after Order 66 and before Solo: A Star Wars Story. One of the best unresolved and unsolved mysteries is what happened to Barris Offy. who kind of appeared to be the direct rival to Ahsoka Tano. In fact, she was the one who set up Ahsoka and eventually led to the destruction of the relationship between Ahsoka and the Jedi Order. Who knew that Barris Offy could have destroyed the internal Jedi Order so much, to the point where Anakin was reeling from the devastation of losing Ahsoka years later. So Barris Offy was last seen in the Clone Wars Season 5 finale, being taken into custody after a shocking betrayal of the Jedi and the Republic. Her story, though, did not end with the Clone Wars, and viewers have wanted desperately to her return to the franchise for one more occasion. We thought that during the Clone Wars Season 7, which was the final season, something would be mentioned or resolved about Barris Offy, but that unfortunately did not happen. And I'm sure that Dave Filoni is not overlooking this issue. I'm sure that this was just a time constraint. They simply did not have time to talk about Barris Offy while being concentrated on the overarching arc, which was, of course, Order 66 on Ahsoka's point of view. So with the Bad Batch now taking place immediately after the Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith, this may be the best opportunity yet to explain what happened to this fallen Jedi. What happened to Barris Offy after she was imprisoned by the Republic. And the main reason why I think she will appear in The Bad Batch is because Dave Filoni might have thought about the Bad Batch storyline way before we did, and possibly he intentionally left out her story from the final season of the Clone Wars just in order to tell the darker version of what happened to Barris Offy in The Bad Batch. To tell her ending, we gotta go through the beginning of Barris Offy, who was a Padawan to Luminara Unduli, the Jedi Master that was renowned inside the Jedi Order. In fact, Barris was a very close friend to Ahsoka Tano. Just like Anakin Skywalker, Ahsoka was known to ignore a lot of the Jedi Order's principles or codes. She was not one to suppress her emotions and often disobeyed orders from the Jedi she served under. Well, this ultimately made her a better Jedi and a better person than she would have been otherwise. This is her ultimate path to a gray Jedi of sorts. But Barris Offy, on the other hand, she was an ideal Padawan. She was very strict to the Jedi code, and this ultimately in the end perplexed her with realizing the Jedi Order's often flawed philosophies during times of war. This led her to become disillusioned with the Jedi and the Republic, simply because, as Yoda feared, the Clone Wars would destroy the very fabric of what the Jedi stood for. They were no longer peacekeepers, now they were warriors. Barris Offy eventually fell to the dark side and bombed the Jedi Temple and attempted to frame Ahsoka as the perpetrator, although Barris Offy was revealed as the true bomber in the end, and the fact that the Jedi had no faith in Ahsoka's innocence, this of course, as we all know, led her to leave the Jedi Order once and for all. Now, the last time we see Barris Offy is her being taken away by Jedi Temple guards, who presumably took her to a Republic prison. This is the problem though, we don't really know. They don't really explain what happened after that scene, but we can presume, as per code, the rules they followed. They took her to a Republic prison. As stated by Dave Filoni himself, Barris Offy was originally going to die in the Season 5 finale, detonating her cell and taking her own life. But in the end, Dave Filoni himself changed his mind and decided that he had further plans for her character. You see what I mean? So Dave Filoni himself is deciding here that Barris Offy's story is not yet done. And if he does not bring her back during the Bad Batch, then I truly do not know what else Dave Filoni was thinking. As shown in the trailer, The Bad Batch, there are 5 members of Clone Force 99 that appear to defect from the fledgling Galactic Empire, although one of them, as you guys have noted in the trailer, is looking like he will betray them. But considering Barris Offy's disillusionment with the Jedi and her dark side corruption, this of course is very much in line with what we saw in the Darth Vader comics and in Star Wars Rebels. You see, she might just end up becoming an ally and a servant to Darth Vader and Darth Sidious, and ultimately become a lethal opponent of the Bad Batch. As you may well know, Barris Offy is not the only Jedi to fall to the dark side during the beginning stages of Imperial times. We all know that there are several others that joined Sidious in becoming Imperial Inquisitors. Many of us believe that Barris Offy somehow or another is yet to be shown as an Inquisitor during the Age of the Empire. Perhaps her story has not yet been told fully. Not in the comics, because we don't see an Inquisitor that appears to be Barris Offy, or neither in the Star Wars Rebels series. There was a lot of speculation that another female Marilyn Imperial Inquisitor, which was shown as the villain in Star Wars Rebels Season 2, many assumed her to be Barris Offy. But the seventh sister just turned out to be an original character and not any way tied to Barris Offy. So similarly, the second sister, one of the main antagonists in the Jedi Fallen Order video game, as well as countless other Inquisitors, the supreme one being the Grand Inquisitor, all these characters have a very similar fate to Barris Offy. Jedi who were disillusioned during the Republic era with the Jedi, and now during the Imperial era, they joined the Emperor and his cohort Darth Vader in becoming Sith Inquisitors. There were other speculations that her absence from all these Star Wars properties has indications that she might have died, either during Order 66 or somewhere along the lines, but her story is not told as of yet. It would be the same if she is living as well, so both of these storylines have not yet been explained, so this gives us the indication that she might be back as an Inquisitor, and boy, how exciting would that be? We've seen all these people go after the Bad Batch, Tarkin included. How beautiful would it be for an Inquisitor to take the mantle in the end, after, of course, many clone forces fail at it, after possibly Fennec Shand and others. The Season 1 finale might as well be Barris Offy versus the Bad Batch. Her appearance in the Star Wars franchise once again would be the perfect opportunity to explain the intricacies and the delicacy of the Jedi Order. If Barris Offy was one of these people, the Grand Inquisitor and others, if they were so disillusioned with the Jedi Order, then how many were there that did not speak up, that just went down in flames during Order 66? This tells you that Barris Offy might have been right to criticize the Jedi Order, but she became much worse when she bombed the temple. This took it to another level that the Jedi Order was just not responsible for. Who knows, anything could happen at this point, but would you like to see Barris Offy in the Bad Batch? Let me know all of your thoughts down below in the comments, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up down below, subscribe for dailies. Now you can have an awesome day, Star Wars fans. I'll see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you. Until then.